afternoon. This is RFC Maki with a brand new flight report coming out of Birds of Steel, played on Xbox 360. It's been a little while since I released a flight report. I haven't got a chance to play as much as I would like to, and it's been a little bit difficult finding online games. But I did have an evening where I set up a whole series of rooms on late Friday night, I believe it was, and played a bunch of games where I hosted, all of them in the sim mode. I had a number of players playing with me, and it was a very interesting crowd because I didn't know most of these players that I was against. Most of them I'd never heard of before, and most of them had a slightly different style of play that I was used to. So I started off this game figuring I would try to give myself a little bit of a handicap, and flew, I think, an early war Spitfire. I don't remember if it was the Mark 1 or the Mark 2. I think it was the Mark 2 because of the cannons, but I flew an early war plane. I had seen a series of tactics from these other players where they were playing, typically flying planes with bombs, or flying faster, later war planes, heading straight for the airfield and blowing up most of my bases pretty early. So I was kind of aware that that was happening, and I had kind of assessed that none of these players were really engaging in very many dogfight tactics, giving me a little bit of a false sense, I think, of security when playing this game. Now, in this one, I've just taken off and headed towards the middle part of the field, and I had spotted somewhere the little red dot on the map of a plane flying towards me, so I was trying to see if I could figure out where that was, assuming it was probably going to be one of the oncoming players. You can see a couple dots just off to my left, and I was looking at those thinking that they could have been the one, realized that a plane must have flown just below me, and whip around to find a plane going straight as quickly as it can, flying very low towards my airfield. Usually when a plane flies very low, that tells you it's not a very skilled player. The player's not looking to increase their altitude in order to gain energy. They're just trying to get to the objective. And I whipped around, realizing that my little Spitfire Mark II was very not likely to catch these guys. So I chased after it. I couldn't tell what kind of plane it was at the time, but chased after it. I have my convergence for my guns set at about 150 meters, which means that in order to get a really good shot on this guy, I need to have him filling up most of my little rounds circle my reticle. But I took a few shots just to see if I could scare him. And then something really nice happened. He's too far away to hit, I think. But did a long distance shot, and eventually my shots went out there. Enough damage to hit his right wing off and blew up, turns out, a Focke-Wulf 190. So I felt pretty good that I stopped the guy early on. So after having gotten a really nice long distance shot off on a little bit of a deflection angle, I reversed feeling pretty good about the game. But I'll say that this is about where my good flying skills went out the window. So I made a lot of mistakes in this game, thus the title, Mistakes Were Made. Was not flying as smart as I should have. I returned back to the middle of the field just to see what I can find, and looking to see if I can gain a little bit of altitude and keep things nice and safe. Keep frequently checking the map, because usually you can tell about the map. Also looking on the enemy list of planes to see if I can figure out whether they're flying fighters or bombers or some such kind of enemy plane. These guys seem to be largely headed for my airfield, so I was expecting bombers and or planes loaded with bombs, and later more planes in order to end the game quickly. So I'm at a distance here where I'm about to spot some enemies. I tend to prefer, since you have a better visibility out one side of the window, so I tend to prefer to sort of angle the plane so I can see coming in. And there I started salivating when I saw what looks to be an enemy plane trailing smoke. This is an AI engaged in a dogfight. So I thought, as he was banking away from me this time, I thought I had a really good chance at coming in on him and line up a shot. And here's where I made my first mistake. I knew he was flying too slow. I knew I should have taken that shot. I knew I should have avoided him, but I got greedy, went for the kill anyway, and paid the price by ripping my wing off. So bad mistake off the start, blew my own plane up out of the sky, and went down because I really wanted the kill. It wasn't even a good kill, it was an AI kill. I did get credit for the kill, but it really wasn't worth it, and I should try to avoid that at all costs. Now, just at that point, a new player had spawned in, and he's spawning in one of the biplanes, the Gladiator biplane, so I had a player with me, And it's about this point you can see him shooting over my head, so I wasn't sure whether he was a troll looking to shoot me down or whether he was somebody who hadn't flown much in this game and was just trying out the triggers. So my instinct here was to take off as fast as possible and get the hell out of the way just in case he was going to chase after me and he'd shoot me down either intentionally or unintentionally. I'm trying to use every inch of the runway at that point and do a quick look back just to see if I can spot whether or not he's on my tail. I was safe. I don't know if he didn't take off or he just couldn't keep up with me. But ordinarily I try to climb a little bit there. I just wanted to get away from the center of the field. And now I'm checking the map and looking ahead to see what kind of plane is coming. And I knew there was at least one plane carrying a bomb headed towards my airfield somewhere. So that's what I figured I was going to keep an eye out for. Looking out my left window to see if there's anything out that direction. My apologies, I didn't clean up the pauses and stumbles in this game because my window for being able to post this video is very small, so I figured I'd just get it up as quickly as possible. There, I'm looking low, and you can see part of my instinct in trying to understand my opponents is telling me to keep an eye out low for enemy planes. Most of the younger players or newer players don't climb, and so I was sort of assuming that anybody would be coming by. Anything I spot on the map was likely to be very low, and I'm making that basic assumption here. Especially when you see, I see the dot on the map has gone past me, so I've reversed direction towards my own airfield, hugging the river, trying to stay low to see if I can spot the plane, assuming it's going to be something just above the treetops. And I'm just not spotting anything from here, but I know that on the map the dot is up there, so the trick is, where is this other plane? The other thing I'm hobbled by is, oh, there it is. As you see me climb, you can see there is a plane just hitting the edge of the clouds. So I'm checking to see if that's it, but here's another one of my mistakes. Now, you see to my right the flak, and that should have been a clue that that's where I should have been looking for enemy planes, not the one I was chasing, which turned out to be a friendly for a second. I'm looking at another dot there, but again, that dot that's ahead of my reticle is not where the flak is, and so probably that's also a friendly plane. I was ignoring any sort of external cues. Now here we see a bunch of dots in the sky, a bunch of the flak in the sky, and that tells me that the enemy plane's up there somewhere. My ground crew sees him, and the trick is to figure out exactly where it is. You can see the dots leading down lower to the left, and down to the right there, so you know that the enemy plane is somewhere in that vicinity. So I'm chasing after it, and you can see just there a little bit of a silver right where those shells are firing. That's where the enemy plane is. So I managed to track him, but these guys were really not looking to dogfight. They were looking to wipe out enemy planes, so he flies right at me and right past me and doesn't fire. So I reverse, hoping to spot him. I've got an AI with me also. So he's diving in on the airfields, looking to take out ground crew, seeing if he can end the game earlier. And usually what players will do is they'll dive down and get a good shot on the ground crew and then climb again. So I'm looking to see if I can't see where he might have climbed. There you see what turns out to be a Falcon of 190. I take a few lucky shots, hopefully, and miss. And the guy cuts back again underneath me, does not spot me or doesn't seem to care about me. Flying in, takes out one of the ground cannons and continues flying back and forth. Now I'm in a plane that's not very quick, and I'm also now behind that Gladiator, but you can see right there in my reticle, there's the Falcon 190. And here's where I had just a bit of bad luck. The guy goes to reverse again. I know he's coming. Right across my guns, and I fire, and nothing. Sometimes a shot like that will take him right out. He flew right under the shells and missed. And went again after the ground crew. I got nothing. I'm pretty sure right there that he was going after the plane taking off, and I'm pretty sure he crashed into that moment. So at that point the chase is done. I get no credit for anything, and now it's time to climb back up into the sky again and look for incoming threats. That happened to me quite a bit recently, where you're chasing some guy who's after the ground crew, and then they slam into the ground about the time you're chasing after them, denying you the opportunity for a kill. It just seems like in this game they're able to hit the ground and then respawn and go blow up more things and respawn and blow up more things. They don't seem to be all that concerned about dying. Now, I think I was reading again Kyle Lander's book In Pursuit. It's a really great book about virtual dogfighting, and in the very first chapter he talks about sort of improving yourself by learning or by imposing the rule that while there's no big deal in getting killed in a video game because you just respawn and keep playing, he said you actually become a better player by beginning to care about getting killed and trying not to. And that was partly my mistake in that earlier scene where I crashed into the enemy plane, because I took a risk that I wouldn't or shouldn't have taken had I been concerned about not dying. Now at this point in the game I get the idea that there is a bomber up there somewhere, and so my goal here is to see if I can't spot where that bomber is based upon the map. I'm seeing a dot there, and I'm looking, but cannot spot anything, and part of my mistake was assuming that the bomber might be coming in incredibly low. Sometimes players will surprise you. I believe this, by the way, may have been an overlay map where you get rid of the number, the capturing ground in the middle of the field, and it's a very, very long field of line planes, plenty of space to hide, plenty of space to climb, and giving you some time between encounters. So I really enjoyed this map. It's not very exciting to look at feature-wise, but it's definitely a good map for hunting for enemy planes. Now there above the horizon you can see in the sky a bomber, and I thought, great, I've got this guy down. You see him coming in, and I was trying to make a decision, do I take a few shots from the side like this and hope that I hit something? I didn't hit anything, so I reversed very quickly, probably too close to the enemy plane, a little bit below. By this point I've announced my presence, and I'm trying to fire at it, but he does a really good job at taking me out. I sat down, and very easily got taken out by not paying attention very well, and this HE-111 rips me out of the sky. Now I very quickly respawned, hoping to be able to catch that plane on the way in, and my default plane here was the Hurricane Mark II, so I switched from the Spitfire to the Hurricane Mark II, not intentionally, again putting myself at a very slow plane. And this is even worse because the Hurricane takes a little bit of time to lift off, doesn't climb nearly as well as the Spitfire does, and I knew that bomber was coming after me high. I wanted to go off the ground to at least try to face it, see if there's anything I could do to take him out. And the bomber's still coming in. You can see the Hurricane is loaded down with rockets, and only once ever have I ever taken a plane down with rockets, but I was kind of hoping that maybe if I hit this guy head on, I could maybe get a good rocket hit with him and see if I couldn't take him out. So I raced back up in the sky, didn't bother circling my airfield like I ordinarily would in a Hurricane, because Hurricanes really do need the altitude, they need the energy advantage. I was hoping to do that, but I was racing to come and meet this bomber head on, see if I can spot where it is. And here I start climbing, only to realize the bomber has actually climbed very high, and you can see me tipping my nose up, but really feeling the energy deficiency. Launched a few rockets at it, but got nothing. Now this bomber is smoking. I don't know if I had gotten a lucky hit before with one of my ships, or if it got hit by an AI. I'd like to take credit for that one, but I'm not sure I actually hit it. The bomber is clearly way too high for me to do any climbing, and I actually overstretched myself trying to just get a couple lucky shots off, hoping something would work, and nothing. So now I'm racing in towards my airfield, trying to climb as best I can with the bomber, who's done a very good job of being very high. And again, you can see him really trying to stretch the limits of the plane, but the nose is dropping. It's hard for me to get a good long distance shot off. Feeling good about my earlier shots, I thought, well, maybe I'll hit something, but these are going to be wing machine guns, and they're going to converge about 150 meters out, and that guy is a good 400, 500 meters ahead of me. So I'm trying to do anything I can. You can see there's already an AI in his tail, and it may be the same AI that hit him and caused him to smoke. He gets past the airfield, he's too distracted to drop bombs, so he turns. I think he's going to reverse, so I pull a lead turn here, hoping to maybe get a lucky shot and close the distance. I tried. They're bad shooting. Everything is behind him. I reverse. he flips over and goes to dive, and I thought, well, great, I'm going to be able to get him here. I can actually be ahead of him. There we go, be ahead of him when he climbs out of the dive, but it looks like the AI player shot him down, and I got no credit for anything on that kill, because I'm not even positive I ever hit him. So again, a bad decision, choosing the wrong plane, and really firing my shots at all the wrong times. So 2 kills, 1 death, and that was kind of a wasted attack upon an enemy that I just wasn't going to be able to bring down. And at this point, I just gave up. The game was about to end. There really isn't anything else left in this video that's worth showing you. So I figured we'd end the video right about there. I made some bad mistakes. Hoping to see you guys next time with some better flying. Cheers, and I'm out.